Mentos, the fresh maker.
Man, that's a good one. That's a good one and a quickie. I like that one. I think they casted that one perfectly with Mr. Ayers Newsom there.
I couldn't agree more. But Ayers just has that way of like, you know, if you ever met Ayers and Cicely, both of them.
Oh, Andrew froze up.
Can you guys hear me all right?
No, we got you.
I said like Ayers and Cicely have this way of making this 3-star experience turn into a 5-star experience no matter what happens.
That's it.
And so it kind of just fits perfectly that no matter what happens, you know, Ayers can turn a 3-star experience of him showing up to your house and about to, you know, basically burn it down into a 5-star process with an application. He probably got an annuity in that home as well.
Sure he did.
I know.
Well, Symmetry Nation, just in case you were confused, I am Brandon Ellison. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Casey Watkins. I wonder how long we could go, you know, for the new people before they realize, hey, I don't think these are the regular guys. No, I'm Roddy Jessup. I've got my fabulous co-hosts here, Andrew, Elijah, and Amy. The guys, the whole crew, everyone is deep in the throes of prepping for our national conference coming up. So we've been asked to host today, and I'm a little bit nervous because this is, you know, this is the big stage. You know, this is like getting called up from the minors to the big leagues. But we're gonna do our best. I think this is where we're supposed to talk about Alabama football. Is that
definitely?
That's what's next, right?
That's on my notes.
I've got at least 5 minutes dedicated to Alabama football. And Nick Saban, is that the right guy? That want to make sure. Okay.
And do we all have salmon coming up for lunch?
I do. I don't know about you guys.
Someone's bringing salmon.
Someone's cooking. Must be nice. I'm over here alone. I'll have a protein shake later. I guess that's all I got for you guys. You guys get salmon, nice cooked rice pilaf, arugula, you know, candied walnut, you know, salad. Sounds great. You know.
Darren Stubbs said he means don't we mean Boise State football? No, we don't. Nobody cares about Boise football, Darren, except for you.
then now, Roddy, this is where we start talking about everybody's backgrounds.
That's right. I've got a really out-of-date 90s rug back here. You guys can't see it, but it's I need to get it replaced for sure. Amy, don't you usually have some like archery behind you that we're supposed to be talking about?
I have archery behind me, but you know, we're kind of doing a whole change here in offices, renovation, the whole shebang. So.
Renovations, got it. Okay.
I get it.
And then Doug would pop in here and he'd have like his 3 screens. So Elijah, are you working on like 3 screens and distracted by something else that's going on?
I've got 4 monitors here in my dining room. The first one is right beside my Diet Coke button. And then I've got another button for my assistant to write that down if I hear somebody say something really good.
Perfect.
So I've got a pretty good setup.
Perfect.
And then in the midst of all the construction, Elijah lost his desk. You know, it happens. It happens. Busted into 17 pieces, you know.
I am in the dining room currently.
I just realized that I'm supposed to be wearing some kind of a baseball cap.
Oh,
Yep.
we forgot the hat.
Everybody grab a hat.
Everybody grab a hat. I do not have a hat. I apologize.
Oh, I do have a hat.
I was.
I'm ready for this.
There you go.
I think we're ready for the call now.
All right, I think we're good now. Probably enough shenanigans. Everyone's like, okay, we get it. You guys are trying to be funny. All right, so now I get to channel my inner Brandon here and see if I can figure out how to share a screen and see how hard it actually is to pronounce everyone's names here. So if you guys want to close out video, and I think I've got this up and running. I think I nailed it.
Remember, Roddy, when in doubt, just do initials.
Just do initials. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so if you can't pronounce a name, just say their initials, and we'll send you a card later.
Good advice. Or you know, John Ziller always says, if you're going to say it wrong, say it strong. So if I don't know what it is, I'm just going to fake it. So let's see what we got here. So we're going to start off with the top 10 new writers week to date. Number 3, Victor Anthony Orocho. Number 2, John Weller with 11,000 for a new writer, 11,000 for the week. And then up on top, number 1, John Nestor, 11,700 in APV as a new writer. Man, that's it was months before I did 11,000 in a month when I was first starting. So that you guys are starting off strong. Congratulations to everyone in the top 10, by the way. We just don't have time to list off everyone's name because we'll be here for an hour listing names, because that's what the leaderboards are at this point. Top 10 producers overall for the week. Congratulations everyone there. Top 3, Dedrick Robinson, 16,972. Brian Howell, 17,064. And number 1, Sean Hogue, 22,468 for the week. Awesome job, Sean. And then top 10 producers in app count. We've got some ties down there. And then for our top 3, Vincent Andriotti, sounds like a race car driver, 17 apps there. A 3-way tie for second place, Dedrick Robinson, Michael B. Burns, and Paul Bain. Paul Bain sounds like a Batman villain, like he should be battling Batman, I think. 21 apps. And then number one new rider, John Nestor, 22 apps for the week, man. That's the way to do it. Top 2 Medicare supplement producers. We've got number 2, Deborah. I'm going to go with Panic. Deborah Panic, 1 app for 456, and Brian Broyles, 1 app for 1164. Maybe it's Panique. Andrew, what do you think? Panic or Panique?
I honestly like Panic, like Panic at the Disco.
There you go. Deborah Panic at the Disco.
Panique, we'll go with that too.
All right, good. Let us know. 1 app with Brian Broyles on top for 1164. Top 5 disability income producers. Number 3, Victoria. I'm going with Balcall. Pretty sure I nailed it. 1 app for 1,000. Natalie Amber Wire, 1 app for 1280. And number 1 on the disability, Julia Mullins, 2 apps for 1,600. Top 5 IUL producers. Number 3, James Hickman, 2 apps for 64. Maricela Looper, 1 app for 11,000. 1 app for 11,364. And then John White. That one I can pronounce all day long. John White. I think I got that one down. 1 app for 20,000. 1 app for 20,000 on the IULs. That is awesome, man. Top 5 annuity producers. George and Janet, get you 218,000. Kyla Granger, 263,000, and Robert Glantz. Robert's going to be glancing at a nice hefty commission check on a $350,000 annuity. Nice job, man. Top 5 debt-free life. Lisa Rednauer, 3 in 3rd place, 5,400. Excuse me. Victor Orocho, 6,478, and number 1, Scott Forehand, 9,039 in APV on debt-free life. Getting into some recruiting leaderboards. Top 3 direct recruits. We got Jacob Pogue, Sean Shannon, and up on top, KP, with 39 recruits for the week. And then base shop recruits. Look at you, Hemi, tied with Mr. Pritchett there with 9. And up on top, Dana Else with 15 new recruits for the week in the base shop. Nice job, Dana. Unlicensed recruits, same setup over there on the recruits, Pogue, Shannon, and KP, and then Hemi, Pogue, and Dana Else on the base shop recruits. Nice job. Licensed recruits, Jacob Pogue, Edward Pritchett, and KP up on top there. And then on the base shop licensed recruits, we got a shake up at the top. We got Dana Else in 3rd, Larry and Ann, and then Easy Eddie Pritchett up on top with 7 licensed in the base. New riders week to date, Jacob Pogue, Keyshawn Monteith with 10, and KP with 11. And on the base shop, Jacob Pogue with 2, George and Janet with 2, and Zachary Little with 3 new riders in the base shop this week. So all of our seasoned new agents, welcome to the club, all of you. I think you guys all deserve a quick shout out, so I'm just going to go through these and see how many of them I can mess up. We got John Weller, Nizar Istanbuli, John Nestor, Zachary McGinnis, Manuel, I want to go with Gorilla? No, Girola. Manuel Girola, there we go. Charles Kramer, Javin Zasueda, Michael James Shellart. I like the 3 names. Those always sound good to me. Michael James Shellart, Timothy Lee Watson, Aaron Curry, Pamela Downey, Erica Jensen, and Tanya Urick. Awesome job hitting that seasoned new agent mark. It's Hitting that mark is an extremely important first step in having a successful career. The founders and the advisory board and everyone did a deep dive into the data, and hitting that seasoned new agent mark, that 6 weeks, that 6 applications in 6 weeks, is a key. It's a key metric that if you can hit that, you got a much higher chance of being sticky, of sticking around a long time and actually getting what you want out of this. So awesome job to all the new SNA seasoned new agents. Key leader leaderboards. I think my graphics are off there, so I'm just gonna jump through those. Key leaders for the week: Erica Jenkins, Anthony Poulos, Christian Capistrano, Connie Aparud, and Jose Martinez with 32,094. That's the numbers for the week. You need 50,000 in a month to hit agency owner. So you guys are all on track to hit your agency owner number. So that's awesome. Top 5 agency owners: Eric Johnson, Menno Glick, Jeffrey Rock, Mark Newbauer, and up on top, Ruth Slingo with 48,262 for the week on the agency owner leaderboards. Nice job, Ruth. Weekly leaderboards for agency directors. I mean, Andrew, I don't know about you, like these agency director leaderboards are getting ridiculous. You know, Zachary Little with 62,000 for the week as an agency director. Puckett, we got the Cowboy with 65. Melissa Wheel and Larry Ann Griffin both up over 100,000 for the week on the agency director leaderboard. That is solid.
They're over 100 grand every week. Like
I know, that's solid.
What's impressive. They're making other agency directors like just have to upgrade all their numbers to even place on this board.
Seriously.
It's massive.
I feel like I'm the wrong agency director to be hosting this call based on these numbers. But awesome job to all the agency directors. Rads, we got Christopher Hill. Man, Christopher.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about how dapper Chris Clark looks? Now,
I was just going to say.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this might be the photo that was taken with his shower curtain as the backdrop when he was sick at home. I don't know if it's the same photo, but I mean, he looks great.
I see what I was thinking. I think he looks like one of the Mr. Andersons from the Matrix. Like, you know, that he's just going to start like multiplying.
I know what you're talking about. Oh my word.
He's going to be multiplying.
I love Colby's picture too, man.
We got I love Colby too. Like I think maybe one of these days at our next live conference we should all get cowboy hat headshots, and just one day it's like we're all cowboy hats. So I think is what we should do. We got the Hershey duo, Cookie, George and Janet, and Godfather himself with 119,000 on the Rad leaderboards. Nice job. MVPs, we got the Popeye, we got Magical Marlon Faulkner. I don't think that's his actual nickname, but that's what I like to call him. Darren Stubbs, we won't hold your football preferences against you. Nice job on the week. Scott Summers, 113,000. And senior vice presidents, Mank Tank, we got Nate Offert, Jim Bob, Mike and Jennifer, and then Kyle and Lisa, 169,000 for the week on the SVP leaderboards. Getting up into rarefied air here now. We got the executive vice presidents. We got Miranda Martin, Keyshawn Monteith, Ashley Tarr, KP. Oh, look at how close the race between KP and the Millers are. We got 357,851. That's like less than $1,000. 358,212 for Ryan and Michelle. Associate partners, Bald and Beautiful, Mr. Jacob Pogue, and then we got Linwood Watkins, 637,000 on the week. Nice job, Mr. Linwood. And then the top of the top here, we got Danny Young, 348,000. Matt and Brad, 350. Look at how tight it is there. 348, 352, 354 up to Delaney, and then Easy Eddie Pritchett, 830,000. And just edging out Mr. Pritchett for the week, Mr. Marshall Wayland, $868,000 on the week. I will never get used to these numbers. That is monopoly money. Awesome job. And then our directs leaderboard, Brian Delaney, 152, Miranda Martin, 153, Jacob Pogue, 197, Keyshawn Monteith, 233, and KP at the top of the directs with 357. And that is it on the production leaderboards. And then we got our level up registration leaderboards. This is for our conference coming up March 23rd and 24th. You can see all the base shop promoters there. Bridget Felix up on top with 200 and close race up on top. Bridget Felix and Michelle Brock, 209 and 204. Jacob Pogue and Carl Miller pretty tight within 540 and 536 on the directs. Yeah.
Go back to the other one real fast. I just want to give a shout out to every single person on this board. I'm not going to go through every name, but very simply this. Last week, I think Jacob Pogue was #1 base shop promoter, like maybe tied with Bridget for like 90. And then compared to this week, everyone has doubled down, taken it more seriously. I mean, we're going to dive more into this later, but you know, if there's anything to celebrate and be happy with, guys, be proud of the activity that you're doing right now. We got 30 days effectively till conference, something like that, 27, 30 days. And that is one of the most awesome things to see is people just doubling down, taking these last few moments to just buckle down, do the work, get everyone blast out, promote, do everything you can to get more and more people there. So shout out to every single one of these. I love it all. Michelle Brock, Bridget Felix, great job beating your directs. John Ziller and Carl Miller, absolutely love it. Absolutely love to see it.
Yeah, awesome job. And then let's see, key leader, Cara Donardo up on top by a nice wide margin, 89. And then over in the AO promoter, we got Bridget Felix and Michelle Brock, 209 and 204. Awesome job. These are these are the fun ones, man. Now we get into we got the bonus leaderboards for January. So those are the 120 and equity bonuses that were paid out in January. Marshall Wayland up on top with $132,000 for the month. That's his bonus check for the month from Symmetry, because he's helped enough other people get to the top. Everyone on that board: Edward Pritchett, Watkins, Delaney, Miller, Young, Smith, Pogue, Tar, Spildiner. That's the man. Like it's such a good indication of the generosity of the founders that $628,000 in bonuses were handed out just in January to that group. And that's just the top. Then we've got all the capital bonuses. Keyshawn Monteith with 4,000 on the capital bonus for the month. Miranda, Zach, Mike, James, Kevin, Mark, Tom, Melissa, Ronald, all in the top 10, $51,000 in capital bonuses. And for all of you that are brand new, I can't see over there. I can't see my numbers over there, but Sean Hogue, I think that was around like 3,000 or 4,000. Andrew, can you see it?
Yeah. 3281 for the top producer bonus. I mean, and to hit the producer bonus, that means that you're at the bare bones minimum issuing over $10,000 in issue pay. So I mean, you just take the top 5: George White with 1,400, LaTanya James with 1,600, Lee with 2,400, Bradley Sullivan 27, and Sean with 3,200. Man, you guys are, and just your bonus, you're paying your mortgage. That's not too bad. Yeah,
and that's a bonus that doesn't take 2 years to get to month one. You can start taking part in that producer bonus month one. So awesome job, everyone that got a bonus. Total bonus payout for January was $700. Total for the month, $732,000 in bonus payouts from Symmetry for just doing what everyone was already doing before. You know what I mean? Before they started handing these bonuses out. This is all money that could have been kept at the top, but you know, true to the goal and the vision of Symmetry, which is to share the wealth of opportunity that lies within this industry. They paid out $750,000 in bonuses for the month. So congratulations, everyone there. Some upcoming events. Thursday, February 25th, we got a carrier webinar. I can't see which carrier, Andrew. I can't move the pictures. If you can jump in and help me through this, but we got the carrier webinar.
We got a carrier webinar hosted by Brian and Rachel Jernigan and producer Brent Barefoot on the clarity and credibility and confirm the 3 C's to fixing your Zoom sit ratio. So that's going to be tomorrow. We're going to basically do a Thursday sales training webinar with Rachel and Brian Jernigan on the 3 C's: clarity, credibility, and confirm, fixing your Zoom sit ratio. The second piece there, Monday, March 1st, sales training with Mr. Mike Colburn, one of my favorite people in the world, Mr. Brett Loftus, and Mr. Omar Diaz, how consistency in the right areas drives success. And then March 11th, March 12th, sign up for it, contact your mentor, and make sure that this is something that you want to attend, that you can attend, and you're ready for it. DFL Bootcamp Debt-Free Life. Go ahead and get yourself registered for that.
Nice. Thank you, sir. And if you hadn't heard already, we've got a conference coming up, March 24th and 25th, the Level Up conference, and our keynote speaker, all right, Mr. Matthew Mcconaughey. Have you guys, Elijah, Amy, Andrew, have you guys listened to Green Lights yet?
Bro, I read it in a week while I was on my honeymoon.
Man,
I don't remember the last time I read a book in a week.
it's so good. It's so good. I haven't read it yet because I wanted to listen to it first.
You should listen to it because he reads it in his voice.
He reads it in his voice, and he doesn't just like read it like most people read an Audible book. Like, he enacts it. You know what I mean? Like, he's got accents, and he's such a good storyteller, and it's so impactful. We've got him at our conference. So everyone and anyone that you think would get any value from this, whether you think the Symmetry is a fit for, it doesn't even have to be about that. Just like, this is a chance for us to just add value to as many people as possible. It's a free conference with Matthew Mcconaughey. Like, carve out a couple hours. You know what I mean? Let's get this culture in front of as many people as possible, and add as much value as possible, whether there's something in it for us or not on the back end. I think is sort of irrelevant. I think this is just a chance to really have an impact on a lot of people.
I'll say this too, if you want to amplify your experience reading that, or listening to the audiobook, like sit next to a campfire or something and just listen to Matthew McConaughey read his memoir. Oh, it's awesome. You just sit there. It's like he's literally telling you a story as you sit next to a bonfire, campfire. Trust me, it's a good time.
Awesome. Get some s'mores going.
There you go.
You know what I heard? This is a little tip. I think I was hanging out with Ayers and Sicily, I think said it. They do their s'mores with Ritz crackers. Has anyone ever heard of that? Not graham crackers.
Oh, like some salt to it?
Ritz, yeah, a little salt to the sweetness. And then someone else told me dark chocolate. Like, my whole life it's been milk chocolate for s'mores, but like dark chocolate and Ritz.
You want to level up a little bit, Roddy?
Sure.
You know those Justin's dark chocolate peanut butter cups?
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Right? Like a little nutty, a little salty, a little sweet.
That's good. We're leveling up in all areas here.
Wow.
S'mores and went to like Ritz and peanut butter cups.
We don't even need to go into the call. This is what we're talking about. How to create the correct s'mores. That's what we're going into today.
Mic drop. Let's wrap it up. I don't think we can add any more value than that.
Okay. Real quick though, Roddy.
Yeah.
I want you to impersonate the all right one more time, but really put your soul into it.
All right. You really want me to hit it this time?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Right, let me just put myself in his mindset. He's in his car. He's pulling up to the drive-in. He's trying to pick up on the smart redhead at the school. And he pulls up and he goes, all right.
It was close. It was good.
Pretty good.
A little too like raspy, but you'll get there.
A little too raspy. All right. I'll work on it.
I do agree with Jacob. A fun little competition, and we'll figure out maybe the best place to send this to. If Kayla, if you're listening, is to do. Let's get like little 3-second voiceovers, and whoever can get the best voiceover of all right. Just all the way through, and then maybe we just blast conference for first 30 seconds to just that. I don't know. That'd be fun.
The opening video to conference should just be every single person at Symmetry saying all right individually, like quick rapid succession. All right, cool. Well, I think please no, exactly. I think we did all right. We got through the leaderboards. I don't think I mangled anyone's name too bad. I have to say I have a whole like a newfound respect for what Brandon does every single week. So hats off to you, Mr. Ellison. Let me introduce a proper introduction for the three of you, and then we can kind of jump right into the meat of the call. My name is Roddy Jessup. I'm direct to Jacob Pogue in the Marshall Wayland hierarchy, and so honored to be in that hierarchy, and humbled and honored to be asked to help host this call. It's not a hosting the national call is not something that I take lightly. So I appreciate the founders, trusting in me and in us to carry the torch while they're off prepping for conference. So I got some rock stars to help me out here. I've got some statistics and stuff that just to let you guys that are new kind of know who you've got in front of you here. So number one on my list, agency director Amy Fine. By the way, for everyone, I think the reason that the founders chose the four of us specifically is because all four of us are exactly the same age. I think we're all right in our mid-20s. I'm pretty. I'm going to try to keep a straight face for the rest of this. No, we got some young guns here, and then I'm the old graybeard that's that's kind of running point here. But Amy Fine, she ultimate team player. She shows up for the whole team and always puts everyone else first. When you ask her for something, she responds immediately. She's humble about asking for help when she needs it. Brian and Rachel have just praised her. She's a student of the business. She really has become a master because of how well she studied it. Just some quick statistics. November, 162,000, December, 145,000, January, 244,000. So you've got a rockin' agency there. Andrew Jimenez, I mean, my brother from another mother, Andrew and I have been sort of running buddies from the beginning. We both came on the same team right around the same time. We were both at our first conference, and we were both, it was February of 2016. I think I started in January and Andrew started in February. And so he's grown from just a scrawny kid with glasses to this like 6'4" beefcake running $160,000 plus a month. It's been an honor to see you grow here, man. Andrew always talks about he felt like the little brother, like kind of riding around on his tricycle at the beginning while me and a couple other guys that all started at the same time were like lapping him. And man, he graduated to the big boy bike, and now he's running circles around us. So agency director Andrew Jimenez. And then number three here, certainly not least, Elijah Corujo. Elijah, pronounce your last name for me, because I always feel like I mangle it.
We're gonna settle this for the whole company here, man. I have heard my last name pronounced more ways than I can count, and I'm honestly impressed because of the level of creativity. But it's pronounced Corujo.
Corujo.
I wonder.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right, cool. So it's not Cujo, it's not Corujo, it's Corujo.
I respond to all three, but if you wanted to get it right, it's Corujo.
There you go. Perfect. Direct to one of my favorite people not just in the company, one of my favorite people in the world, Mr. Chris Cook. Chris Cook gave some feedback, man. He says that you're one of the youngest AOs in all of Symmetry. How old were you when you hit AO?
23 last month.
23 last month. Andrew, how old were you?
I was 22.
22, and then Amy.
The old lady. I was 24.
And I was 19. Okay, cool. So all right, the same. I mean, and it just shows that I'm assuming that none of you guys had a wealth of insurance knowledge or a background in the insurance or financial services industry. So it really shows what's possible here. First full-time year, you made 120,000, got married, and became an agency owner. You've been one of the top leaders from a virtual sales standpoint, which is one of the, something that we're going to talk about here in terms of our transition from kneecap to kneecap to video screen to video screen. Some quick stats: November 59,107. In AP, December 58,000, January 52,000. So running a solid $50,000+ a month agency. Excited to see what you do with this, man, as we move forward. So that's who we've got on the board. What we wanted to talk about, we'll kind of get into the meat of the call, is we've got kind of this perfect, we've got a perfect storm of perfect storms in place right now in terms of like what's on the table for all of us to take advantage of. There's a perfect storm that's going on within the industry as a whole, within the insurance industry. We've got a perfect storm as far as production goes. We've got a perfect storm as far as building goes. And then we've got the perfect storm to introduce everyone to this in terms of conference coming up. So what we're going to kind of talk about, and this is going to be somewhat informal, it's going to be the four of us talking. And we're going to kind of talk a little bit about each of these perfect storms, and we want to give you guys sort of a call to action on how to take advantage of this, right? So the first one that I want to talk about a little bit here is just sort of the industry as a whole, and I don't want to get too much into the weeds of it in terms of the numbers, but I do have a couple sort of statistics that I think just sort of put things in perspective here in terms of the size of the opportunity that every single person on this call has in front of us, right? I'm going to be throwing some numbers around, and there's a number that gets thrown around a lot that I don't think gets the respect that it deserves, and that's the number $1 trillion. I'm gonna put that number in perspective at the very beginning, so that just everyone kind of has this as a frame of reference. We're in a multi-trillion-dollar industry. $1 trillion is a huge number. 1 million seconds ago, this is just going to kind of frame it for you. 1 million seconds ago was about 11 days ago. It's about a week and a half. 1 billion seconds ago, I was 8 years old. That's the difference between 1 million and 1 billion. And I got some gray hairs. I got some years on me. 1 trillion seconds ago was 26,000 years before recorded time. So just let that sink in for a quick second. That's the size of an industry that we're in, right? So we're in this huge, massive industry. Now I looked up some real quick statistics here. The total premiums in 2019 for the products that we have the ability to sell. So this is sort of looking at the past, and then I'm going to talk about the perfect storm that's brewing right now that's going to catapult us into the future. But just like looking at 2019 numbers. $687 billion in life, accident, and health and annuities, the products that we, with our license, with our life and health insurance license, that we have the ability to sell. $687 billion, okay? Now, our 130 million, rounding up, 130 million was 0.0001%. 0.0001%. And the reason I think that's relevant is because it's easy to come in here and see those leaderboards and see Marshall Whalen making $132,000 in bonus checks, and to see those numbers at the top and go, oh man, we're here too late. The only thing that you've missed is the growing pains, right? Like you are not too late. We are just scratching the surface of what's possible within this industry. I'll put that in a little bit more sort of perspective here. So that 130 million, 0.000189% of the product of the premium that was written with the licenses that we have the ability to sell. If you back up 20 years and you look at PayPal, right? PayPal came in and completely disrupted an industry, right? They completely disrupted the electronic funds transfer industry. Fast forward and you look at their market share 20 years, right? they've got like a 10% market share in terms of that industry. Let's forget about 10%, right? I'm assuming that everyone here, if you're planting your flag, you're here for the long haul. We're not just talking about the next couple of years, but like over the next 20 years. We're setting ourselves up, and we're going to get into how, but we're setting ourselves up to completely disrupt this industry. So let's forget about 10%. Let's just say we want to get to 1% of this industry. What it would look like for us to get to 1% of this industry, based on that 130 million, you have to multiply that by 52 times to get to 1% of the industry. That 130 million, that took us, if I'm not mistaken, it was about 250 agency owners, I think is kind of the stats that we're at. That means that we would need, if you take that 130 million and divide it by 250 agency owners, to hit 1%, we would need 13,200 agency owners, not agents, agency owners, to get to the point of doing 1% of this industry. That would mean that we would need close to 150,000 agents. Right now, we've got what, 3,000, something like that. I'm painting this picture just to let you guys know that if you are new here, you are just in time. You are not too late. We are just scratching the surface of what's coming, right?
So Roddy,
yeah.
Let me echo kind of what you just said for a second, because I think it's easy to get wrapped up in all the numbers. And if you guys are anything like me, I'm a pretty simple guy and I'm pretty easygoing. But when it comes down to it, take what Roddy just said. We have 250 agency owners, and we need how many to get to the 1%, Roddy?
13,200, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Gotcha. So we're not close at all, right?
No.
So like in that perspective, it's not too late. Not even close. We're just at the starting line. So if you're walking in here and thinking to yourself, am I in the right place? Am I in a spot or a position that I can make this happen? Guys, I'm telling you, yes, you are. And we need you. We need your help. We want your help. We want to thrive with you, and buckle up and get ready, because we're about to do this thing for the next 90 years. So just ready, set, go at this point.
Right. Yeah, man. So that's the pass, right? That's just to sort of set us up to the get us, like you said, to the starting line. We're still tying our shoes, right? So now I want to talk about sort of the perfect storm that we have in this industry. And this isn't specific to Symmetry. This is just in the insurance industry in general. The products that we sell, life insurance products, very few people, I won't say no one, but like most people don't just wake up and say, hey, let's buy some life insurance today. You know what I mean? Honey, I think we should wake up tomorrow and let's buy some life insurance. It's an event-driven purchase. It's triggered by certain life events that make people go, oh, you know what? This isn't just about me anymore. It's typically a death in the family, a birth in the family, taking on a large amount of debt, like a home, or a marriage, right? So your family's either expanding, contracting, or adding debt. Those are sort of the life events that make people go, we should probably look at this. So there's a couple of generations that I want to talk about real quick that are all coming up to a point where they're having those life events that cause them to look at this industry, at these products. First, you've got the baby boomers. 70 million plus baby boomers in the country. I don't know the exact statistics on it, but it's something like 10,000 of them a day are turning 65, and that will happen every day for the next 10 years. And then I think it's like it jumps up to 15,000 a day for another 5 years after that, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's a huge, massive generation. And if you look historically, they have created pockets of wealth along every industry that they've gone through, right? Like diapers back in the 50s or whenever it was, right? They've created huge pockets of wealth. And they're coming to an age where they're thinking about their legacy. They're thinking about mortality on the future. They're the generation that the 401k was tested on, right? The 401k that's sort of in place to prop up Wall Street. They're the generation that all have 401ks that need to be protected because now they don't have time to recover from a market correction, right? All products that we have the ability to sell. That's where the baby boomers are at. Now, right behind them, we've got you guys, you three that are in front of me. I'm not quite there with you. I'm just in front of you, but you guys are all the millennials, right? What do you guys want? Everything, right? Now, you guys are coming up to ages where you're starting families, checking out careers, like what am I going to do with my life, starting families and buying houses, right? Buying houses and starting families, the life events that cause people to start looking into life insurance, right? Plus, from a career standpoint, and you guys, and we can talk more about this in terms of like the perfect storm from a building standpoint, but you guys, your generation, you guys aren't coming up in the industrial, right? It's not like, hey, go to school, get a job, work for 40 hours. You guys are the generation that's sort of like, nah, I don't think so, right? You guys want something that's got purpose, right? So we can add that to the perfect storm from a building standpoint. But just in terms of the need for the product, that's half the country, the baby boomers and the millennials, because you guys are technically a larger generation now than the baby boomers, right? So that means you guys are going to create pockets of wealth in every industry that you go through. And both of those generations need the products that we sell. Now, right in the middle, you've got my generation, Generation X. And you know what we have all of? We have all of it. What do you guys think it is? Debt. We've got it all. We have all the debt, right? Credit card debt, $1.4 trillion in student loan debt. We have all the debt. And what do we have that can help with debt? We've got the product that can help fix it, right? Debt-free life. What was that, Elijah?
Keith Fonseca, also known as DJ Debt Free.
That's right, right? You got the boomers, you got the millennials, you got Generation X with all the debt. Huge, unprecedented need for the products that we have the license to sell with a life and health insurance license that anyone on this call can get for $300 some odd and a 40 hours of studying, that you can get the license that gives you access to sell all of these products that can fix all of these problems for a huge percentage of the population, right? So that's part of it. Now, perfect storm has to be multiple components, right? So the other component is that almost 250,000 of the people that sell those products are all getting ready to retire. The average age of a life insurance agent is upper 50s and 60s. They're all getting ready to retire in the next few years. So you've got huge, unprecedented need for the products that we sell, a huge mass exodus of the people that sell that product getting ready to retire. And then the spark that's going to set it off is technology, right? This is an industry that is historically behind the times from a technology standpoint, right? They just are, because it's an industry that's been around forever, and when you get rooted in your ways, it's hard to it's hard to shift. But technology is going to disrupt this industry. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And we know it is, because that's why you see all of these startup companies, right? They see those, Symmetry doesn't have exclusive rights to all of the products that we sell. Everyone knows that there's this perfect storm between the boomers and the millennials. Like, everyone's aware of that. So they're all trying to say, hey, look, how can we create a technology platform to capitalize on that, right? You see Lemonade or Ladder or SelectQuote, all these technologies that are trying to take advantage of that perfect storm. But what they don't all realize, and what we've got on our side, is that they're trying to do it in a way that eliminates the agent. And what they don't realize is that technology does not sell insurance. Some people will use it, but that's not what sells the majority. What sells life insurance are people, right? People who are focused on helping other people solve their problems, not just trying to get them to buy something, right? So huge, massive need for the product, huge exodus of the people that sell it. And then we've got technology that's going to be the spark that sort of sets this thing off. And where I get so excited with this is that the founders and the advisory board, they sort of had a choice, right? They could stick their head in the sand and say, you know what, this industry is going to keep doing the way that it's always done, and technology is not going to happen. They could say, hey, you know what, technology is probably going to happen. We should probably prepare ourselves for it. We're going to keep doing things the way we do it, but let's put some stuff in place so that when technology does disrupt this, we're ready for it, so we can ride that wave, right? What they said was, no, what we're going to do is we're going to create the wave. We're going to cause the change to happen. We're going to implement that technology in a way that empowers our agents and puts us so far ahead of the rest of the competition once this thing that's coming soon. Like they've been laying the groundwork for this for the last few years. It's going to put us in a position where we're so far ahead of the competition, it's not even a race anymore. So that's what's on the table right now. that is what's on the table in this industry with this company. And we are, like I said, we're still lacing our shoes at the starting line. You guys all got here at the exact right time. So that's perfect storm number one, is the industry and the opportunity that we have in front of us. And I don't think I'm overstating this. You don't get many opportunities like this in your lifetime. I know we've got 320 somethings here that just stumble into it, like, first time around the go, right? But like these types of opportunities, you get a couple of these a lifetime. You know what I mean? You are in a position here to take advantage of a once or twice in a lifetime opportunity. And so my call to action at the end for me is like, don't let this opportunity slip by. Whatever you've got to do, grab hold of this thing and hold on tight, because it's going to be a rocket ride over the next 10, 15, 20 years and beyond. But you got a chance to grab on before it takes off, right? Anything any of you guys want to add to sort of like that general concept of like the industry and the storm, the perfect storm that we've got in front of us here?
Yeah. Or Amy, go ahead.
Okay. Are you sure?
You take it.
I feel like one thing I would love just to bring to people's attention is sometimes it's our mindset that trips us up more than anything. So in this, if you're looking at us, first couple months, first time, whatever it is, and a part of you has that feeling of, I'm too late, or I don't know if there's enough pie in this pie for me, then that mindset, that thought process is going to trip you up right out of the start. And so it's just remembering that you can't live your life from that scarcity mindset of there's not enough, and you have to beg, cheat, steal, lie, whatever it is to get whatever it is you need. But in those moments, remember, there's more than enough on the table. There's more than enough. And so when you can come at this with an abundant mindset, knowing that you're going to have not only your needs met, but you're going to be able to make such an impact to so many people. It, like, yes, the statistics are amazing because that's the root and foundation, but also guard yourself and ask, like, okay, what is my mindset when I see this? Do I feel like I'm too late? Do I feel like there's enough on the table for me? Because if you don't believe that, then guess what? There won't be, because you're going to shortchange yourself in the beginning.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Yeah.
Elijah, what were you going to add there, bud?
Yeah. So I want to say a little something about the stats that you brought up, Roddy, and then I'll roll into our first section.
Yeah.
Because with talking about the perfect storm, the thing that comes to mind for me is the theme, like the word for this year, which is invest. The founders introduced it at the beginning of 2021. And when it comes to investing, the worst strategy is just investing blindly and not knowing the market that you're investing in, not knowing the company, the background, the culture, financials. You got to know the numbers, because numbers tell a story, right? And you can't get a return on an investment or you can't get a return without first investing, is the point I'm trying to make. And anybody who's on this call, we got right about 2,000 people on the call right now. What Roddy's trying to hit home here is this isn't just the right opportunity. It's also the right time. And these are the right people. What our competition did in 2020 was sell out. What Symmetry did in 2020 was invest in our people. And if you want to really launch with this company, it's going to take investment from every single one of you if you want to get that return. Because the numbers that Roddy's breaking down are, man, it is a good time to invest. I went through a Robinhood phase last year because stocks were nuts. And if you've ever invested in stocks before, you're looking at news articles, you're on Twitter following companies, you're seeing what CEOs are saying before you go buy stock. This is the behind the curtain stuff before Symmetry goes public. We've been talking about equity appreciation rights and all that kind of stuff. And so it's not just about us starting a race and us lacing up our shoes. We're taking a SpaceX rocket to Mars, and it's happening very soon. And the numbers are a testament to that. And so we're going to talk about a couple sections. The first was the market and the background and the demographics and numbers that Roddy broke down. I'm going to talk about some production. because that's what gets bred today. Andrew and Amy are going to talk about building, and then Amy's going to talk about the call to action. And we're going to do a bit of a round table where I want you guys to ask me questions. I want to ask you guys a couple. We'll have like an organic conversation. Andrew, was there anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, just before we transition to the next piece, Amy, I'd love for you to answer this one. Is let everyone know on the call what our goal is, hopefully that they can take away today, right? Seizing this perfect storm of opportunity, taking this SpaceX rocket ship of Symmetry to Mars. What's our goal for them to walk away with today with that in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, well, when you asked that question, I think just now about 10 different answers went to my head. So if you want to rein me in at any point, go for it.
Go back to the story brand. What was the thing you were saying? Story brand, where the guide and the hero.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I was about to go on a different rabbit hole, so I'm really happy for those gutters. Anytime I go bowling, I'm the girl with the gutter guards. You got to put something up for me or I'll go all over the place. But with that, guys, in this, one thing that we want you to be picturing in your mind when you're listening to this is, remember that I know it sounds cheesy, but in traditional story narrative, there's a couple key roles in every single story. There's the hero, there's the villain, there's the guide, there's all these key components. And in this picture, you are the hero. In your story, in your life, you are that main character. You're going to come across obstacles, come across villains, come across guides, and just picture Symmetry. I know this sounds so cheesy, but Symmetry as that guide. Because in every story where the hero overcomes, he gets the girl, he lands the job, whatever it is, there's a guide. Even if it's maybe a role of a person, maybe it's the right time, right place, there's a guide that helps them get to that next level, whatever that is. And so picture this and ask yourself, how can the groundwork that's been laid, like Roddy said, the only thing you missed were the growing pains. How can the system that is in place help you get to the next level? And, all of us, we're looking in some way, shape, or form, we're looking for a vehicle. Sometimes we know where we want to go. We know the destination. We know what is in our hearts and that we want to see accomplished for ourselves, our family, and our community. But if you're anything like me, you look from A to B and you're like, how am I going to get there? So in this, ask yourself, what would it look like for Symmetry to truly be that vehicle for me to help me get to that next level? So yeah, hopefully.
And if I can add to that too, I think the point of Symmetry is that the way that they've set it up is that everyone has the opportunity to be the hero of their story in this. This isn't a vehicle that only a few people can drive. This is a vehicle that's been set up for everyone who's willing to put in the work to take advantage of it, right? So let's get in, transition a little bit into sort of how like the new person is going to take advantage of this from day one, because we've got this perfect storm of the industry, but there's also a perfect storm of like the production standpoint. Coronavirus has like thrown everything through a loop. And in the times of, in times of struggle, that's where opportunities are born, right? So Elijah, can you kind of break down like the components of this perfect storm from a personal production standpoint that you've been able to really capitalize on, because you weren't really here for much of the kneecap to kneecap. You came on for a little bit of it, but then you had to pretty quickly transition into this virtual sales process, and kind of talk about what that perfect storm looks like in terms of like the today money, the personal production. We sit down, we make a sale, we get paid.
Yeah. So here's one of the things I'll kind of talk a little about what the latching onto this opportunity looked like for me last year. And I'm going to break down production from the perspective of somebody who's producing every single week. And what it looked like before and during Rona. So when it comes to production, if you're new on this call, you've never written an application, there's pretty much three ways you can make money here. Production is what pays you the fastest early on. And that's from you invest in some leads, you help a family get a policy, that policy gets issued, you get paid. And by fast, I mean, it's pretty stinking quick. I wrote a policy last Friday with American Amicable, issued Friday, paid Monday. It doesn't get much faster than that. The second is building, and we're going to talk about that too. The third is probably bonuses and equity appreciation rights and all of that stuff. But when it comes to the opportunity, what I want you guys to get a glimpse of is, Roddy, at the beginning of this, you said we got about between 2 and like 3, maybe 4,000 active agents in a monthly period, right? Per week, how many leads is the company generating?
I want to say we're at 10,000, but we've got the capacity to get to like 15 or 16,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And so that's a significant deficit of families asking for what we have and agents who are licensed and able to go help them. And so the one belief that I want to just dispute right now is, if you're wondering whether or not, is there enough people to help? Is there a shortage? Heck no. There's a shortage of agents. We need more of you guys. And so there's a lead overflow. Before COVID, or Rona, as I like to call it, what my week looked like, I was a college student doing this part-time. I would drive to Delaware to go run appointments. I live in Virginia on the East Coast. I wanted to get my hands on some A leads. That's what I had to do to get A leads. It was work 2 A's and 3 A's here, or go to get A leads up in Delaware. I did what I had to do. I still worked bonus leads, but I was driving 3-4 hours one way just to go run my appointments on Monday and Tuesday. And so for me, if I didn't make it happen on Monday or Tuesday, I ran a couple local maybe around my classes. And so I had to make it happen. What are you saying, Roddy?
Can we jump in on that real quick, just so that, because we've all run in the field. So I want everyone to kind of get an idea real quick. I'll tell you, for me, when I first started, I was in Illinois, and even just with those, the 4 counties that were the closest to me, it could be an hour and a half drive, between these 4 counties. When I moved down to Asheville, because I wanted to be closer to the company, the closest pocket of leads that I could get was Charleston, South Carolina. It was a 3.5 hour drive. So I was driving 3.5 hours down on Monday. I'd get up at like 6. I'd get down there for my first appointment at 10. I'd pack all my appointments into Monday and Tuesday. So I was having to get like an Airbnb down there and then drive up late Tuesday night. So I was getting Tuesday 1 o'clock, 2 in the morning. That was how I was. Now, then I got really lucky and a little pocket opened up in Knoxville. And that was only 2.5 hours away. Right. So yep. That's what I had to do from leads. Andrew, I know you're in to help everyone understand the size of the one county that you live in.
Yeah. So first, I live in Arizona, where we have one county out here that's probably equal to the size of probably 3 or 4 counties on the East Coast. So when I got started, first off, I was driving a 2002 Ford Escape, no air conditioning, no radio. I would literally I would put my headphones in. I was driving around, and I had to drive with my windows down, and I only had 3 button-up shirts, and one of them I forgot to close, and it went flying out the window one time. So then I was down to 2, and that's all I had. So give you guys an idea, for me to drive from one corner of the county to the top end of the county in Maricopa, California is very similar to this too. It takes like an hour and a half, zero traffic. So what I would do every time I got leads is I would spend a little bit of time and pretty much section out, okay, I'm going to run East Valley or I'm going to run West Valley, because I had a solid 20 to 30 minutes between appointments of just pure driving in the same county.
Yeah. And so that was it pre-Rona. So about March of last year is when everything changed, right? And so we were driving all over the place. Not that you couldn't always get leads right next to you, but I mean, there was a lot of driving. We called those people road warriors, right? Windshield time. And during those times, we were calling carriers, doing interviews, all that kind of stuff. What it looks like now is we've beat this horse to death, but it is a borderless world now, meaning you can run your appointments 100% virtual. Me and my whole agency have been 100% virtual all of last year. During a pandemic and recession, my income doubled last year because of production. And so in terms of a perfect storm and perfect opportunity, if you want to turn this right here into an ATM, production is the quickest way to do it. And I'm going to talk about some of that. So in the perfect storm with virtual, that's probably the first leg of production in terms of how big of an opportunity this is, because so few of other agencies in other companies and other insurance companies aren't virtual. I was talking with American Amicable this morning. There are dudes still writing paper apps, kneecap to kneecap, man, faxing this stuff in. Symmetry is pivoted on a dime to being virtual. And so if you just came, I want you to realize how rare that is. Most people have to drive, do stuff in person. You have to be cognizant of safety and all kinds of crazy stuff just to go make a sale when in reality, I'm working out of my dining room right now. I wrote 11 grand last week from this corner of my dining room table in 4 states. And so I have a GMR in 4 states. And I'm not going to tell you guys where they are because I want those leads. But if you want to expand, recognize we have a guy on our team. Shout out to DJ Robinson right here. He's a new agent. The dude started working 50 centers. He's in California. He runs leads in Nevada, Tennessee, Virginia, and California. He'll wake up on the West Coast because there's a 3-hour time difference. He'll start calling leads on the East Coast. He'll dial at 5:30 a.m. his time because that's 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. You could not do that pre-Rona. And so in terms of a sales opportunity, if you want to make money doing sales, in the words of Dana Young, coming to Symmetry and not making money here is like starving in a grocery store. If you need to go make money, it's not a matter of leads or products or training because we have all of them. The second thing I want to talk about is lead types. The leads that Symmetry is generating are incredible. They're warm. They even have instant A leads right now where people who Google, I figured out how they're generated. People Google mortgage protection. Symmetry comes up because of the Google algorithm. And they go on our website, fill out a questionnaire. You get the lead in minutes. You can call that person and write an app virtually. We have call-ins, final expense, debt-free life leads. I think they're coming out with Medicare supplement and annuity leads in the future. But there's so many different ways that leads are generated because we're a client acquisition company. And so we as agents have limitless opportunities to go help families with the products that we have. One thing too that Brandon and Casey have talked a lot about that I just want to emphasize is before COVID, I had never written $10,000 in a week before. Never. I couldn't do it because if I was running appointments in Delaware Monday and Tuesday and I wrote 6 or 7 grand, like, yeah, that's a great week. But I was a student. I couldn't drive back up to Delaware to go get a couple more apps. Whereas now, I mean, Lee Jadlika's done with his 10K by the end of the day, Monday. It's ridiculous every single week. I didn't write 10K until I could go virtual because if I didn't make it happen, big whoop. I just go pick up some leads in another state, call those families, book a same day or next day appointment. Could not do that before. And even after all this COVID stuff is behind us, I am still fully planning on running appointments virtually because of how ridiculous of an opportunity it is. What does this look like practically with investing? I hate to break it to you. I'm gonna step on some toes here. If you were here before COVID and you remember running appointments in person, there's nothing wrong with running appointments in person. But if you're trying to transition to virtual, take that money you were spending on gas, Airbnb, microtels, all that kind of stuff, Wendy's, coming back home, put that into leads. I look at everything right now in one of 2 lenses. How many apps does that equate to? How many leads is that worth? I heard Tim Pensa say at one time, Chipotle was 1 A lead. I bought some furniture. That's 3 or 4 apps worth to furnish the living room. Have that as your perspective and look at ways that you can invest in your business. You can quite literally turn this into an ATM. Okay. I have a question for Andrew, actually, because you're kicking some tail building. When it comes to SNAs, seasoned new agents, why should leaders focus on SNAs and why should a new agent who just got started here prioritize and focus on that too?
Okay, so let me start with the new agent because I think they're a leader focusing in on it we should always ask ourselves this, and I'll talk about this in our next segment too, but you need to start living a life of impact, right? And so when I talk to people and I talk to agents and I speak to them about what they want, at no point do I want them ever to feel like I need something from them. The only thing I ever want for Elijah, the only thing I ever want for Roddy, the only thing I ever want for Amy is what they want. And so you guys got to understand, like when we talk SNA here, what I really hope that you can take away from this is that I only ever want the best thing for you and off of basically what you say you want to get out of this thing. Our average SNA as a producer, if you come in here, is on average, that means that they wrote 6 apps in 6 weeks. First off, that's how you become an SNA. goes on to effectively write $3,000 a week every single week, which then turns into, on an average calendar year, that $3,000 a week, that's 12,000 a month, or 144 grand a year. That same 144 grand of production on a 70% contract rate, on a 75% issue rate, 70 grand a year. So you're talking to me that, like, if you go out there and you set a marker and set an intentionality and put a focus on mastering this business, becoming a seasoned new agent, you have the highest percentage chance of long-term success in this business. And this is not just a kickstart, hey, Roddy, let me see if I can swim in the deep end and see what happens. You can effectively build a 20, 30, 40-year career and be like Danny Young, who answers the phone for 10 hours a week at 78 years old. Danny Young is my favorite millennial. He was around when Jesus was in 3rd grade, and it's the best thing ever. Here's what I also say as a builder.
You're going to get in trouble, Andrew.
I can feel the wrath of.
And he's going to be calling me, he's going to be texting me. We're going to have a good laugh. But here's the thing. As a builder, what do SNAs mean for your business? It means that you get to work with high quality people. It means you get to work with people that are engaged in their future. It means that you get to work with individuals who want to go out there and achieve so much more for their life. And that's one of the greatest things I can tell you guys in this business as you build and you grow and you develop an agency, is when you start leading with a mind of impact, guys, money is cool. Financials are awesome. Paying off your bills and growing fiscally is great. But one of the greatest things ever is watching your people grow. And if I'm allowed to, Elijah, I'll transfer over to building because I think it's a pretty good segue.
Bro, hit it.
Real quick before we do that, Elijah, can you just just summarize what those components of the we got the industry, right? Unprecedented need. We've got a mass exodus of people that sell it. We've got technology that's going to be the spark, and all of that is on a culture that's geared towards the agents. Can you kind of sum up the perfect storm that we've got in place from a production standpoint?
Yeah, I'll sum it up in 60 seconds too, because I want to hear about building. The perfect storm consists of the right people, which is the people who are on this call. There's about 2,000 people on the call, but there's about 4,000 active agents. And so the people who are on this call are people who are trying to make it happen. Second is resources. There are companies out there that are built on cold calling and door knocking. This is not what we do. We have people asking for what we have. And then the third piece is the training and innovation of technology, because we have the ability to, work 100% remote and virtual with policies that get approved super quick, pay quick. And that's the secret sauce to retaining a new agent, is getting them paid fast. If you're not making money, they're not going to stick around. That's why a focus on SNAs is so huge. So here's the call to action. You got to widen your net. If you're still only buying $100 in leads in your backyard, I hate to break it to you, but you're not gonna, get those fast track bonuses of a brand new agent. It's gonna be difficult to get promotions past an 85%, and you'll go stagnant. And so you have to widen your net. What does that look like in terms of investing? Double or triple your lead investment. Those 10K a week producers, dude, you know what happened for me? I got jealous of Sean Kim, Sean Hogue, and Lee Jedlicka. I was like, dude, what are these guys doing? They got to be cheating. And so I talked to one of them, and I heard Sean Kim say it one time. He's like, dude, I invest $1,000 a week in leads. I was like, damn, okay. I invested $1,300 one week, and then I did it again the next week, and then I did it again the next week. I went 8 weeks in a row, actually 9, writing $10,000 a week, most I ever done. If you're looking to invest, put yourself in a financial corner, widen your net, get leads in another state. It doesn't matter if you have a different area code, go for it. You can't just keep talking about investing and hope to get a return. You have to get in the pool. So dive in. Andrew, if you could unpack for us building in light of the perfect storm, and how somebody who maybe hasn't started building, or people who are building, who are new to it, like myself, just hit agency owner, how can we capitalize on the perfect storm?
Yeah, I think it always starts with understanding like a first couple of things, like bringing back to light some of the things that Roddy said. Understand that we are probably in one of the most unprecedented times, which I think can be a little cliche to say because you hear it so much, but understand that it is very, very, very true in terms of unemployment and unhappy people, both on the side of the government and just like people's integrity with things. Like people want more of, I want to do it myself now. I don't want anybody else to tell me how I can do my life. I think a lot of people are also at the same time, Elijah, in a time and place where they've maybe been working from home and they realize just how much more time they have because they don't have to drive to and from, they don't have to go drop off kids really so much at extracurricular activities and just things like this. And here's what I think they have found. And you feel free to coin this phrase, feel free to write this down. They've just found a way that they can start building their work around their life rather than their life around their work. And so what I want you guys to think about for a second is, what does that mean for you here in Symmetry? Well, you're with a business and a company that has all the right tools, all the right systems, all the right marketing, which is the number one hardest piece for any small business, period, is to drive business into the business, right? People into the business. And you're with really great people, number 4, that know what they're doing because we've been doing it for 10 years. You know, Brandon, Brian, Casey have been doing it for much longer. Danny Young, even longer than us, okay? So, yeah, I'm gonna get in trouble. But Amy, here's one thing I would always say is I don't care where you're coming from. I don't care what you're doing. It does not matter if you don't lead with impact here. Because the minute you start hiring and recruiting and coaching people because you're trying to get something out of them, I'm telling you, you're going about this thing the whole wrong way. If you talk to Brandon, Brian, and Casey, every single time their job and their mentality is how can we make our agents more profitable and successful, not what's in it for me. And so, Amy, I'd ask you, as you look at really what we do and the idea that maybe you start with why and how you want to really recruit and build, what's the significance of impact and helping people seek change? Like, let's say today you interviewed somebody and in your mind, just kind of elaborate what this process would look like for you, okay? And you spoke with 2 people. One person says, I work at Burger King and, you know, I'm just looking for, you know, an extra part-time income and that's it. You know, I just need quick money right now. Versus you talking to the next person that's seeking change and they say this, Amy, I'm working at Burger King right now and I got 2 kids at home and I can't keep doing this much longer. I need something to change. In your mind, what type of impact are you looking to make on this person?
Yeah, well, I think first off, like anytime you can actually witness someone's why and witness what it is that's driving them. First off, there's so much, we need to hold so much room for respect and honor for that. Because that takes vulnerability and that takes courage to get to the point that you can actually identify what it is that you're lacking, what it is that you need. And then you come to this point where you're like, I need to figure out what to do to get to that next step. And so in that, for me, like as a leader, that is one of the greatest joys and honors that I have in this business, is actually getting connect with agents and say, you know, like I had a conversation with someone this week and I just got to say, you know what, why are you here? What are you doing? What is it that you need? And to actually get to see them crack open their heart and share with me a story of how they ended up here and what it is that they need for Symmetry to do for them, that not only is going to fuel them to find the success that they need, but that's going to give me direction in how I can serve them best. And I tell people this all the time. We can't add value to you. We can't help you. We can't serve you get to where you need to go if we don't know what you need. And so communication is key in this, but impact is everything. When you can lay a foundation, and impact is rooted in that foundation, every single inch of that, what that's going to do is that's actually going to empower you to work and live a meaningful life. Like for me, I don't want to get up and out of bed every day and work to make a great income for myself. That, you know, that might last me a couple of years. But at the end of the day, if I can shift my focus to, well, what would that income do? What could I do with that income? And what would the impact look like? Like for me, gosh, I had the honor and the privilege of bringing on board my brothers and my dad. And to have those conversations, like I sat with my dad at the Wedge in Asheville, a couple months ago, and him just getting to be able to share the financial impact of what Symmetry has done for my mom and him on a part-time basis. Like it makes me want to choke up to think about that. And like my dad, full-time pastor, we've always lived as growing up a great life, but he never really found something that he could really pour and invest into his future, his retirement for my mom and him. And to be able to see impact like that, I want to see that for every single person that steps into Symmetry, if it's on a part-time basis or full-time basis. I don't know if I answered your question,
No, you
but
did it.
my heart in it.
You did it perfectly. Because, and Roddy, I'll let you follow up, because this business has to start with impact. We're in a people business, right? We obviously come in for things that we need for our own selves. But I'm telling you, the minute you start needing agents to book appointments, the minute you start needing agents to write premium, the minute you start needing agents for whatever it is so you can make more money or get your promotions, you've already gone down the wrong path. It has to start with, how can I help you, Roddy, achieve what you want? And you had something to follow up, buddy?
I was just going to say, like, in terms of the spark that's going to set off every one of these perfect storms that we have in place, it's that component that I think is what makes Symmetry so unique. Is that, yeah, there's this perfect storm within the industry, but that we're going to take advantage of it because we have a culture that's focused on impact and helping people, not stacking dollars and gold watches and impressing people for the wrong reasons. It's focused on impact. Yeah, there's a perfect storm in place between the virtual process and the increase in leads, the increase in data to generate leads, but it's going to be capitalized on by us better than anyone else because of the culture that's been created on helping those families find something that's right for them, not what's right for our commission, not for our pocketbook, right? We're focused on them. And what I wanted to ask whoever wants to talk about this from a production standpoint is there's also a component in terms of the perfect storm of what we have in front of us from a building standpoint, is that idea that, like, the better of an opportunity this is from a personal production standpoint, the better an opportunity that makes us from a building standpoint. Because if I've got to squeeze the juice out of someone, that makes it a really hard business to build, right? Because I got a whole bunch of empty orange carcasses, right? If I'm trying to squeeze juice out, but if I can actually give them a place where they can fill back up, that makes this a much more impactful opportunity to build from. So can you kind of talk about that component of the perfect storming as it pertains to the building right now, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, take it back to the SNAs, right? Just in that perspective for a second here, right? That I don't have to squeeze every single itty bitty drop out of one person and kind of keep them there because I need their production from that. I mean, the better we get makes this more opportunistic for anyone to walk in. You're talking to me, Elijah over here, who was, a student working in a call center for X amount of dollars per hour, buddy. How much per hour?
$11 an hour.
$11 an hour. Amy, who was a babysitter for Brandon.
A nanny.
A nanny for Brandon and Meredith, and then he went to go work on the corporate side. And then you got over here, me or Roddy, Roddy was a struggling actor. And then he turned into, a traveling salesman doing that stuff there. But then you got me, I was stocking boxes in a warehouse for $12 an hour, $600 in rent, $600 in student loans, $150 left over for food, gas, electricity, you name it. The better this business gets, and it already is, because the amount of money, if you guys knew what Symmetry is pouring in on the research and development end, just millions of dollars to make this better for our agents. Because when it comes down to it, it's agent first, client first, agent second, company third.
That's good.
So the better and bigger we get on the production side, the better and bigger, and honestly, more simplistic and easier it makes it seem to just, I just want to build an agency here. Agents walk in, they just do what they say. Elijah, did you have something to follow up?
Yeah, I'll say one thing, and then I want to kick this over to Amy because I have a question for her. But one of the things that I'm in the midst of learning, so I'm speaking from a place of vulnerability. What you focus on is what grows. And one of the things Grant always said, I'm sure he took this from John Maxwell, but he said, where your attention goes, your power flows. in my agency, one of the problems that I created as a leader, because leadership is influence, is my focus was only on production. All I talked about. And then it was a shocker to me that no one was building. And so, but here's the thing, when it comes to production and building and the opportunity, here's how you find the sweet spot. When you bring in a new agent, you don't have a recruit. A recruit is not a full recruit until they also have a recruit. It makes them sticky. They have they're more engaged because they have a living, breathing reason to stay here. And so if you want to become a great producer, if you want to capitalize on the production opportunity, start building. Great builders have to be good producers. If you want to bring an agency, or if you want to build an agency, or you want to be a good producer, start with building. You will definitely become a good producer. If you want to create great producers, focus on building. It's the magic sauce to this whole beautiful cake that we have here. And if you want to be a great builder, definitely focus on building. If you only focus on building, you might become a good builder, but you will definitely create a great producer as well. And finding the balance between those both requires all of the investment that Symmetry is doing. The market climate, which we've already covered, is good. And then the third piece and the call to action is the person who is willing to capitalize on the opportunity and invest. And that takes something that's very difficult to transfer, but that's commitment. It takes commitment to invest. And so, Amy, I want to hear from you on this. Actually, we talked about it, I think, yesterday briefly. But can you talk about the third corner of this perfect storm in relation to goals, commitment, and conference? Like, wrap all this up. Like, how does somebody take what we're talking about and transform their year? To people who maybe this is their first interaction with Symmetry, maybe their first time doing insurance. Like, none of us, I could be wrong, none of us have done insurance before this. Nobody.
My father did. I don't know if that counts.
Okay. So you might have known the difference between a term and a whole life policy before you got here. I didn't. And so how does somebody capitalize on an investment to be able to get the return that Symmetry is going to see tenfold in the next couple of years?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and this is something that we're all going to this is how we're going to land the plane. We're getting close here. We're wrapping up. I'm a preacher's kid, so I'm known for having multiple closing points. So in closing, this is one of, I'm sure, a few closing points we'll hit on. How to capitalize on this perfect storm. Roddy talked about the industry. Elijah, you really hit on the producing side of it. And Andrew really focusing on what does it look like to actually build and make an impact by helping other people get what they want. Guys, the perfect storm that we're really stepping into is conference next month, national conference. And that is really, truly where big decisions are made. I don't know about you guys, but that for me was my turning point. I actually attended conference. I wasn't an agent. I was back in the green room with the kids. And I was up there and Marlon Faulkner was up on the stage. I don't know what he was yelling, but he was yelling and his whole heart and soul was in it. And I just remember sitting back there thinking, gosh, I've already quit on myself even before I gave myself a shot. Like, I was so afraid to try something like this. I was so afraid to step out of my comfort zone and to step into something new that I'd never done before that I quit before I started. And for me in that moment, that was, I don't know what he was saying. Marlon, thank you. I don't know what he was saying, but in that moment, I had this resolution in my soul and I was like, I've got to do this. I've got to give 100% of myself to this and at least see if I've got it in me. And, it's, guys, I'm telling you, the pain of discipline is far less worse than the pain of regret. And at conference, this is where we're coming right now, is we have a national stage. The top leaders and industry producers in the country are going to be in this amazing virtual conference, actually pouring out and sharing with you guys where they came from, what they're doing, and where we're going. And guys, I'm telling you, like I hit on earlier, this is a company that's rooted and founded in that abundant mindset where it's not like I'm going to keep all my secrets, my tricks, my tips to myself. Like, no, I want to share the wealth of knowledge to anybody that I can make an impact to, because I know if I can help, like Andrew was talking about, if I can help other people get what they want, then I'm going to help myself get to wherever it is I'm looking to go. So in this, you guys, I think, you know, we can have calls like this. We get off and we're like, I'm fired up. That was awesome. And then 2 hours later, you know, after lunch and maybe a cat nap, and you tried to make 15 dials, you forgot what the call was about. And that's okay. But guys, the takeaway is action. And what better way to take action and to take a step towards doing what it is that you know that you should be doing in front of you, which is not only getting to conference. And Andrew, I'm going to throw this back to you in just a moment, but you know, on that note of how many people can you make an impact to by helping them get what they want to get and getting them to conference as well. And, you know, in this, it's that perfect storm. If you guys have not already signed up and registered for conference, do that right after this call, not right now, because we're still finishing, but right after this call, sign up for conference. And it's not some plug. Guys, we get nothing out of this. We get absolutely nothing out of people coming to conference. But what Roddy has experienced, what Elijah has experienced, what Andrew has experienced, which each and every leader and producer that's been with Symmetry has experienced at conference, is you have this resolve and you make the next big decision. Big decisions are made at big events. That's just how it rolls. Just like me sitting in the green room, not knowing where I was, what I was doing, and there's some big scary guy yelling on stage. I had a moment of, I'm going to do this. If that guy can do this, if Marlon can do this, I can do this. And in that, I want anybody that wants to have that experience to be able to step into ownership for yourself. And, you know, in this, Andrew, before I pass off to you, second closing point, you know, guys, in this, I think there's a really big difference. I was hitting on this with you guys yesterday. There's a huge difference between setting a goal and making a commitment. You know, you can look at this, you can look at the producing side of things. You can look at, you know, I'm going to write 10K a week, or even if you're part-time, I'm going to write 3K a week, whatever it is. You can set that as a goal, but guys, a goal is just an idea unless you actually make it happen. And so I want us to shift our focus away from setting goals to making commitments. Because once a commitment is made, if I say, you know, Andrew, I'm committing, I'm going to do $7,500 a week in APV. That's a commitment I'm making, and I'm going to do what it takes. I'm going to book enough appointments, and I'm going to write enough APV. I'm going to serve enough families until I hit that goal. That resolve and that dedication is the difference between a goal and a commitment. I don't know about you guys, but I've set quite a few New Year's resolutions, and I'm pretty sure like 3 days into it, I'm gone. Jeremy, my little brother, he texted me and he was like, I just went, what was it, like 60 days? I don't know what it was, some number of days, no alcohol, no sugar. And he was like, how'd you do? And I was like, 3 days, maybe 3.
She's like, blast it to Wednesday.
Yeah, it was a solid run. But guys, Jeremy, the difference between Jeremy and I is Jeremy made a commitment to himself. I set a goal. It sounded nice. I wrote it down in a journal probably somewhere, and it felt good to write that down. Felt good about myself. But guys, Jeremy's actually reaping the benefits of what he put himself through in setting that commitment. So in this, Andrew, like if you could, I would love to hear from your perspective, because you're like the numbers, the data, the nuts and bolts guy when it comes to conference attendees and what it looks like for someone who's brand stinking new. Like, gosh, I just think about all the new agents that have come a part of the team, and the ones that have expressed wanting to build. And I just think about, like, what if they got 30 people to conference? Like, what would that do for their lives? And so, Andrew, if you could touch on that, the impact of, yes, not only getting yourself to conference, but what does it look like to actually help other people get what they want to?
Yeah. I think first off, the single most important thing about conference is what it does for the agent, right? The belief factor that you get, like, just like you said, you heard from Marlon, boom, click. And I guarantee you for Elijah, it was a piece of going to conference, hearing from somebody, and it was like, oh man, you can actually make a significant amount of money here. And all of a sudden, boom, okay, what's it cost to be a top producer, an elite producer? The number one most significant thing about conference is always people just start to make decisions based off what they see from the owners and ultimately what it can do for their families, right? It's bridging that gap with impact. And so guys, if you're actively recruiting, here's what I would say as a business, and this is a quick disclosure piece to this, right? Like in 2018, I ran these numbers. We're doing obviously a virtual conference. It's going to be a little bit different, but just hear me out on this one. Okay. In 2018, I ran some numbers on the agents that I had on my organization. We were doing about 1.1 million in 2018. And I ran the numbers, and here's what it really looked like. Here's what it equated to. Of the agents who went to conference, their annual premium volume or their sales versus the agents who didn't go to conference. Okay. The agents who went to conference accounted for 96% of my organization's premium. The agents who didn't go to conference accounted for 4%. And I can tell you this, I was counting only opt IDs, agents who had been created, like people that actually wrote policies, right? That's all I was counting. And here's what it amounted to, is there were far less people who went to conference that wrote $960,000 worth of premium that year. And there were a lot more people who never went to conference that only wrote 40 grand. And so as a builder, if you're thinking, oh, okay, how much should I really bring to conference? I would ask you, how much can you bring to conference? Because if you ask me, my goals, my decision and my opinions might be a little bit different, but I'll give you a suggestion. I think as an agency owner, you should probably be shooting for 100. As a key leader, I would say you should probably be shooting for 50. And if you're a new recruiter with any type of resources, as what if you're doing like just ZipRecruiter, LinkedIn, Career Builder, hey, even your own warm market, right? You know, Craigslist ads, the people at the grocery store, it doesn't matter. Shoot for 30. I think it's pretty easy to get people excited about Matthew Mcconaughey, but it's even easier to get people excited about the impact that they can have on their own lives for their families. And I say that's your big selling point. Roddy, did you have a piece there?
I think you nailed it on the numbers there. I think that if we can kind of, land this thing, I'd love to hear everyone's kind of final thoughts to leave everyone with. And we'll go, let's go from youngest to oldest. So I think, Elijah, you're the youngest, right? So just give us your final thoughts, your takeaway on the, like, what we're talking about today in terms of like the perfect storm that we've all got at our hands.
Yeah. Here's my final thoughts. I see way too many people come here and work half as hard for themselves as they did for their previous boss. And the reality is what we have here is a vehicle, a pretty kick-ass one at that. And everybody is in their own driver's seat of this vehicle. The vehicle is fueled. The company has invested in itself. The resources are there. The training's there. The culture is there. The missing ingredient is, for any new agent or somebody who's stagnant wanting to grow, the missing ingredient is a commitment to yourself and a commitment to the process. You can spectate the investment, but you won't get the result unless you commit. That commitment looks like studying the process, doubling down, because what was doable before takes a lot more now. And with equity appreciation rights, the opportunity with equity appreciation rights is it's insane. And with where the company is going, I heard the Smith brothers talk about it in light of how buildings are built. The last 10 years, the company is laying a foundation. And when a building is built, that's the piece that takes the longest, is the foundation. It takes years. And then once the foundation is built, that skyscraper is up in a couple months. The foundation was just built. And so if you are still skeptical, still on the fence, still unwilling to double down, invest more in leads, invest in building, invest in yourself, invest in your people, and be invested in the impact that the company's having, I mean, don't be surprised if you miss out on the investment. And the beautiful thing is the opportunity is just as big, if not way bigger now than it was 10 years ago. And personally, I would love to see everyone win because the pie is growing and the percentage of our market share is growing. But you will miss out if you don't take action or make that commitment.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. Andrew, I believe you're next in the age procession here.
Yeah.
Final thoughts and takeaways.
Yeah. I'm going to coin something straight out of the green lights, and it's as simple as this. Just like Elijah said, get less impressed and more involved. And if you read that for that phrase, it goes, the sooner we become less impressed with our lives and more and our accomplishments, our careers, our relationships, and the prospect of symmetry right now in front of us. And the sooner we become become less impressed and more involved, the things that are really in front of us, the sooner we can get better at them. We must be more than just happy to be here. We have to do what's necessary. Green lights. And here's what it comes down to. The idea of just being less impressed, more involved, is hold integrity with yourselves. Make those commitments, understand the clarity, understand the decision, understand that where we're going with years and what it equates to and conference, that there's a time limit to all this stuff, and you just got to take advantage of it. So show up, work hard, double down, triple down, quadruple down, whatever it is.
Love it, man. Amy, fine.
I love that. And in the words of Chris Clark, I'm the old spinster of the call. That's a first, that I'm the second oldest. That doesn't happen. I love it. Guys, I don't have too much more to add. The only thing that I would just, as a friendly home-based reminder, get in the habit of asking what's next. Like, let that be the foundation to everything. So after this call, if you don't know what your next step is, if you haven't signed up for a conference, it's signing up for conference. But to really lean into your mentor, lean into your team, and get into the habit of saying what's next. Like, all right, I just made 400 dials and I booked 15 appointments. What's next? All right, I just sat on 10 of those appointments and I wrote 6K in APV. What's next? And just get in the habit of asking what's next. And it just takes that first step. Momentum is everything. If we can actually create an environment around us that we do instead of think, guys, we can get so stuck in those moments of overanalyzing, processing, and you know what you should do, but you come up with so many excuses to not do whatever it is in front of you to do. And so in these moments, do put action to it, put momentum to it. I don't care what you have to, even if it's a physical representation of that that momentum. Like yesterday, I felt really, really stuck in my day. And I was like, I just need to go ran a couple miles, got my head right, and got back to it. So ask yourself, what's next? What is that momentum? What is that first step? What is that step I need to take? And then do it. And guys, I was talking to a brand new agent dialing yesterday, and I told him, I was like, Howard, just make a mess. Just make a mess of it. Just make a mess. And so my word to you guys, I know this is scary for 99.9% of the people on the call, but go make a mess. We'll help you clean it up. Just get some momentum under your belt. And we're going to help you piece together that puzzle. But guys, it takes you sitting in that driver's seat. That analogy of I'm going to be in that passenger seat saying, hey, take a left up here. Watch out, slow down, there's a speed bump. The last thing I'm going to do, though, I can't stick my foot over there and put my foot on your gas pedal. I can't do that. I might be able to help you steer your steering wheel a little bit. Hey, watch out for this, go this way, do this next. But I can't put the gas pedal down for you. That's your job. So in this, what's next? What's next for you? And if you don't know, ask for clarity. I think, I think what stops most people is they don't have clarity and they don't have direction. And that typically comes from inside. that clarity has to come from you. I can't give you clarity. Andrew, I can't give you clarity as to why you're doing this. I might be able to help give you some direction on what's next. But guys, in this, make sure that you are continually asking yourself, what's next?
Awesome, man. I'm honored to have shared this stage with the three of you. You guys crushed it. The final thought that I'll kind of close us with, just in this theme of like it's the perfect storm of perfect storms that we've got in front of us. You've got the perfect storm that's brewing within this industry as a whole, between the demographics and the size of the opportunity. You've got the perfect storm that we've got at our hands from a personal production standpoint, and the borderless, this borderless virtual process that we're one of the few, if any other companies have like really nailed and grown throughout. The unprecedented data available to generate leads, like this perfect storm from a personal production standpoint, which in that makes this perfect storm of like a building. We can recruit in places we could never recruit before. We can reach and impact people that would have never had the opportunity of Symmetry before because of all of these perfect storms that are in place. And then you've got this golden opportunity of conference to introduce this perfect storm to so many more people because it's virtual. You don't have to buy a hotel. You don't have to buy a plane ticket. You don't have to pay for conference. Just like you've got Matthew Mcconaughey, you've got this perfect storm of perfect storms, right? That's available to you right now. So I'm from Northern California, which Nevada County, which is where the gold rush happened. It's 49er country, right? This is our gold rush. This is the gold rush of this time. And all of you, like Brandon and Casey and Brian, found and dug out this vein of gold. And now they're with a microphone saying, hey, here's this unprecedented vein of gold. Come on, everybody, right? They didn't say, hey, we found this vein of gold. Let's mine this for ourselves. They said, hey, come one, come all. There's enough. This is like a mountain of gold, right? So my call to action to you guys, and I'm sort of speaking to the pioneers at this point, is what are you bringing to this mountain of gold? Are you bringing a spoon? Are you bringing a little cup? Are you bringing a pickup truck? Like, grab a cruise ship. You know what I mean? Like, how big of how much of this do you want to take advantage of? Because this doesn't come around very often. This is going to be one of those things where you're either going to say, I had an opportunity and I missed, or I had an opportunity and thank God I followed through with it. Thank God I sacrificed a little bit for a short period of time, because now look at the lifestyle that I'm able to live. Look at the level of impact that I'm able to have because I was willing to sacrifice for a moment, a brief moment in the grand scheme of things. So that's my call to action to you guys is decide how big of a piece of this you want, how big of an impact do you want to have. And then, like Amy said, make the commitment to doing it, and don't give yourself any back doors, any excuses. Just make the commitment and do it. I can't thank you guys all enough for being on and sticking with us. I know we ran a little bit long, I think, but I appreciate all of you guys, Amy, Elijah, Andrew. Thank you guys for helping support me this through this. And you guys know how to get in touch with us. And Symmetry Nation, it's been an honor. We'll talk to you guys soon.